Hi, I'm Jamie, AirDNA Product Marketing Director and home of an Airbnb in North Carolina. Today I'm going to show you how to use AirDNA's Market Minder as a host. So this is the page you land on most often. It's the overview page. And you might think of this more of an investing tool, but it is really good for a couple different things. I love to keep an eye on the rental channels to see if it's worth listing on both Airbnb and Verbo, or if I can maybe pick up some extra guests if no one's really listing on both or one or the other. And then another thing I really like, I personally self-manage. But if you are currently self-managing and thinking about moving to a property management company, this will highlight the top 5 property management companies in your area by with the star ratings, number of listings, and things like that. Another great thing on this page is the top amenities. These are kind of the top amenities across just the short-term rental world. They're most common, but it's a great way to see if you can kind of pick up an amenity that either a lot of people have and you're might be losing out because you don't, or that not a lot of people have, and maybe you can pick up some bookings because you do decide to offer cable TV. While a pool and a hot tub might not be feasible to add, cable TV is not too hard. If you have a washer and dryer on property that you currently keep locked, maybe you open that up to guests and make that as a really popular amenity. So next, let's jump straight into occupancy. So you do see these numbers up here, but this is for your entire market, and I'm going to show you how to get a little bit more specific. So in occupancy rates and revenue, we have these filters. So my house is a 4-bedroom home. So I want to only look at 4 bedrooms. I consider our place a mid-scale to upscale type of place. It's definitely not one of those luxury, beachfront homes that has like an indoor theater and stuff like that. But we did put some really nice furnishings, and we tried to put in some additional touches and amenities. That price is a little bit higher than economy, so I want to limit to that. And then you can get a little bit deeper. I have a house and an entire place. It's not professionally managed. I pay a lot of attention to our star rating, so I want to only compare myself to the other top rated properties nearby. We sleep up to 9 people. This goes all the way up to 20 plus. But I want to say, like 1 to 10 or 1 to 9. And then we have 3 bathrooms. So I think that's super important. If you ever travel with a large group, the more bathrooms, the better. So you hit apply, and then that's going to apply all of your filters. So now you can take a look at what I could expect or what the rest of the market that is very close to my property, similar to my property, is doing for occupancy and when. This is nothing surprising because I've been hosting in the area and vacationing there even longer. So obviously July is a super popular time, and then the winter is, much slower. You can also zoom in here. My property's right around here, this nice little gridded area. So you can kind of see these other properties and what their occupancy rate is. I can see how many more listings, again, that match mine specifically, have come on the market. So obviously, a big uptick in 4-bedroom properties. And then some booking demand data. And I can look at all of these weekly and daily as well, just to kind of get a better idea. This one shows you how many booked nights for basically booked stays for a particular day versus how many properties were booked. Obviously you could book a property for more than one day, especially in a vacation market like this. So same thing goes for rates. You can see kind of what the average daily rate is of places nearby. And then just as the market as a whole for these 4 bedrooms, these filters do follow you across these 3 pages, so you don't have to reset them every time. And then this is by price tier. So you have mid-scale and upscale. And the way we do this, there's a video on it, but we take all of the listings in a market and divide them into 5 buckets to get the 5 price tiers, essentially. Again, go check out that video for a slightly better explanation. And then revenue, I know what I make every year, but what do other people make? And the percentiles is really good because, you can see if you're in the middle of the pack that, towards the top of the pack, if you're in that 75th percentile, you can see what you can expect to make per month. If you have a really amazing house, you can throw yourself into that top 10% there. But really like this 25th percentile, because this is kind of the worst case scenario. Like if my property just does not perform very well, what can I expect to make? Or what are other people that match my property making per month if it's on that lower end? And again, this is really slimmed down. So you can see revenue by bedroom. This will obviously change. You'll see a different line if it's you have different bedrooms, and then just total market revenue. And then I'll just give you guys a quick peek at like, what if I want to compare to all 3 and 4 bedrooms. And again, you can do that on all of these pages. So now you can see, oh, okay, yeah, like average revenue by bedroom is higher for the 4 bedrooms, especially in peak season where, maybe groups are traveling, families, things like that. Before I jump over, let me hit seasonality real quick. This just kind of helps validate probably what you already know as a host, but this shows you the hot times over the past year. So you can see, like, I always assumed April was going to be quiet before I purchased my house, and it's not as bright red hot as the summer, but you do see, it's growing. This is a good page to pay attention to as kind of that shoulder season for a lot of seasonal vacation places is shifting and drifting. I know we're experiencing that a lot out here in Colorado in the mountain towns as well, and as well, the beach towns are also seeing that on the coasts. So we're also, before we jump into smart rates and pacing, let me show you this My Properties. Now, if you already have a property that is listed on Airbnb, you want to come up here to My Properties and you're going to want to add it. This will look a little bit different when you don't have one yet, but just hit add property. It'll walk you through the process. But when your property is in, you see your key metrics, all of that good stuff. And then you see, how you're tracking to your competitors. So, my occupancy is doing pretty well. My booked rate is doing really well. On the top bar is your property. The underside bar is the competition you're comparing to. And then my booking lead time is doing pretty well as well. There's another video on this on our YouTube channel. But you set those comps right here. Now we will pull 100 comps, and then you can go in and kind of customize this a little bit. So let's take a look at the filters. You set your number of bedrooms, bathrooms, how many guests you allow or want to compare to. Again, we allow 9 guests, but maybe I want to compare like anyone who allows 6 to 8, 6 to 9, 6 to 10, things like that. How close? This is particularly helpful if you're in a super populated area or maybe in a more sparsely populated area. You can set this to get it really drilled down. Star ratings again, and then reviews in case you don't want to necessarily compare yourself to someone who's brand new if you have been around for several years. But maybe you don't want to compare yourself to someone who's been, listed for 8 years and has hundreds and hundreds of views. This is my favorite though. You can say, I want to only see properties that have these specific listings. I have a hot tub, so I want to be compared to people who have a hot tub. And then properties that you want to exclude. So while I have a hot tub, maybe I don't have a pool, or maybe I don't allow pets. So I don't want to be compared to properties that have those amenities. So you just hit apply, and then you get your custom list, and you can customize it a little bit more by deselecting ones that don't matter or you don't want to compare to. This one right here, you can see is oceanfront. My property's not, so I don't consider them a direct competitor. So I went ahead and unchecked that. And then if you're not so sure, so you don't recognize this photo, you can just click on these titles and they take you right into the Airbnb or Vrbo listing. So we'll go right back into AirDNA. So you can go through and you look at all of that, and then that feeds those little circle charts we just saw on the other page, and it also pulls up these comp metrics. This is spectacular because you not only can see who your top competition is, but you can see their occupancy rate for the past year. You can see their average daily rate for the past year, and you can see what they made in total for the past year. You cannot get this type of information with the insights on the listing platforms. And then from here, so we're going to jump into these two over here. We're going to start with smart rates. If you're getting ready to list, say your property is not listed yet, you can come in here and you can use market rates, and you can get a general idea of what you should be listing for on any given day or month. Again, the red is hot times, the blue are slightly cooler, less demand times. You can set your price settings, you can set filters. So this is where you would be like, oh, bedrooms accommodates, things like that. But once you do have your listing connected, you get an even more detailed view. So this is pricing recommendations for your exact property, taking into account a lot of different factors like day of the week, demand score, booking lead time. You can again come into price settings and say, I want to price aggressively. Maybe I want to be a little more conservative. All of these great areas that you can customize to get an exact price for what you should be listing your property at. And then pacing. So we'll start with how to use this page in general. Again, there's another video on this. This is my favorite chart as a host. So you can see the number of available properties versus the number of booked properties are these bars. And then the lines are the prices. So the median price of the booked homes versus the median price of the homes that are still available. And this is 6 months looking into the future. So this is your crystal ball of what's coming down the pipeline. So you can see, maybe I want to zoom in to just look at like June, July, August right now. And I might be concerned that, my late May, early June isn't booked. But I can come in here and see that, oh, really, not a lot of people are booked in the market. So maybe I don't have to worry. People are just waiting a little bit longer. And then this is another view of that for available versus booked rate. And then you can kind of take a peek at what the market was doing last year. If you don't have your home listed yet, you can use these filters to drill down a little bit more. And then this one's booking lead time. So how many properties for a stay on June 14th is what we're looking at right here. How many were booked in the past 7 days, 30 days, 60 days, and then anytime beyond 60 days. So these are cumulative. So in that all bookings number, that 564 that we're seeing right there, that includes the 60, 30, and 7 days. So this just gives you an idea. You can see the market I host in tends to book out really far in advance. So there's a lot of this top blue color because people booked, 90 days or more in advance. So that's how you use this great page. Even if you haven't listed yet, you can get a good idea of what's going on. But once you set up your comp set in My Properties, you don't have to worry about these filters. You can look exactly at who you want to compare to. So I have those 20 something properties I compare to. This is what we're looking at now. Again, so let's zoom in towards the summer a little bit, get a little closer, and I can be like, oh, okay, my early June is might not be booked, but again, only 2 of the properties that I compare myself to are already booked. So I probably would wait a little bit. I'll, see if we just pick up some bookings as we get closer. Or maybe based on this median booked rate versus median available rate, maybe I do want to drop my prices a tiny bit. So that is how you use this area. This I find super, super helpful. It lets you make smart decisions based on what's actually happening in the market instead of just panicking and making a decision. And then if you're ever curious, you already have your competition, but maybe you want to see what the absolute best of the best are doing out there. So let's look at, 4 bedrooms in my case. Let's do accommodates like 8 or 9 people, and it's a single family home. So these are the top properties. Again, this is why you use the comps. Like this one has a pool, not a competition for me because I don't have a pool. You can also see where they are. They bounce on this map. So that are all my favorite things on how to use AirDNA's Market Minder as a host. It helps you kind of really drill in and see what your market is doing for properties exactly like yours. And then it gives you, in Smart Rates and Pacing, it gives you some just really deep and good data to make smart decisions on how to best uh, price your property, and if you need to make changes or if you can wait a little while because everything's just slow. So I hope that helped, and happy listing.